Hello everyone, it's me again. I'm here with another video. Today's video will be a theory video. This theory video is, are Teen Titans and the Batman in the same universe? I have seen this question get brought up quite a lot in recent years. Why do I say this? Well, it's a more recent fan theory. The backstory of Robin goes like this. I think Warping Fist said it best, which I'll leave a link to his video in the description down below. He said that when Dick Grayson became the first Robin, he would help Batman for 2 to 3 years. But as soon as Batman joined the Justice League, his relationship with Batman started to strain, and he left Batman to go to Jump City, form the Titans Tower with the money provided him, and they would form the Teen Titans. Or Robin would form the Teen Titans. But that's the backstory on how they try to connect the two shows within the same universe. So here's the question. Are they really in the same universe? Many have seen the Batman as like a prequel to Teen Titans, showing Robin's backstory, since we never saw Robin's backstory in Teen Titans. So I do think it's a possibility that the Batman may have been a prequel to Teen Titans. But this does raise some questions like, why wasn't Batman Teen Titans? And why wasn't Slade the Batman? With the former Batman's in Gotham. Gotham's a city, so that makes sense. But with Slade, good question. I'm gonna say maybe at that point in time he wasn't a Batman villain yet. I don't think he was a Batman villain in the comics at the time. I think he was just a villain of the Teen Titans at this point. But here's what could make it work. The fact that Robin in the Batman acts a lot like how he does in Teen Titans makes a lot of sense. They do act quite a lot, and they both have a bow staff. What else? Teen Titans has made several loose references to Batman, so it allows us to connect this Robin to the one in the Batman. Because some do tend to believe that the Batman incarnation of Robin, well, Robin and the Batman, may be. How do I put this? I was meant to say that the two Robins in the Batman Teen Titans are the same person, meaning that the Robin we see in Teen Titans is a grown up version of the one we see in the Batman. And there was that one time in Teen Titans where Robin is given the oath, which could be the tied to the Batman, since we never see the oath take place. What else? Ah, there's this one scene in the comics that many tend to say that the two shows are in the same universe. Here, let me pull it up. Batman. It's this scene at the end of one of the tie-in comics. Here, let me show you. This is Batman's design, and many say it looks exactly like the Batman, which I do agree. It does look like the one in the Batman. That's what the design reminds me of. But I think that's all the evidence. No, wait, there's more evidence. remember when the Flash and Green Arrow were in the final season of the Batman? Yeah. Apparently, they are the mentors to Speedy or Red Arrow and Kid Flash in the comics. So, it could mean that Speedy and Kid Flash's versions of Flash and Green Arrow are the same ones from we saw in the final season of the Batman. But then this got me thinking, if this were possible, then why did they abandon Green Arrow and the Flash? Did they get into an argument? Or did they left on bad terms, or did their relationships get to strain? Now, I do know Aqualad, who was Aquaman's sidekick, was also in Teen Titans. And Aquaman wasn't in either the Batman or even in Teen Titans. So, yeah. I think it does bring up Aqualad's existence in a bit of a questionable state, so... Sorry, it's just the sun. Here, I'll take care of it. Perfect. Now, I did hear that Aquaman was going to be in the final season of the Batman, but he was in the final season of the Batman because he had his own movie being made at the time. But I'm gonna say that maybe Aquaman could have joined the Justice League sometime after the Batman ended. Thus, it gives Aqualad a reason to exist. Now, what else? Wonder Woman was also going to be in the Batman, and her sidekick, and the writers of Teen Titans wanted to use Wonder Girl, but they couldn't because of a rule that Wonder Woman couldn't be in the show if she wasn't the main character or one of, and the fact that she was getting her own movie at that point in time. So, a lot of things prevented that. But now, here's what could cause it to not work. Batman was in the in issue 45 of the Teen Titans Go tie-in comics 2 issues prior, and he looks more like his DCAU counterpart. But I'm gonna say that might have been done. This was done because, sure, because Batman was never in Teen Titans, his design never remained consistent. The inconsistency of the design is questionable, to put it lightly. Which has some also beg the question, is the one Robin we see in Teen Titans a grown-up version of Tim Drake's Robin from the Batman the Animated Series? Like, I doubt that would be Dick Grayson's Robin, because it would just create too much continuity errors. I might make a video on what if Teen Titans was sent the DCAU one day. I'm gonna have to try to make a video like this work without ruining what made the show special. I'm gonna have to figure it out, honestly. And the second issue is this. Did you guys know that Killer Moth was in both shows? Yes. If you watch both shows, you'll know Killer Moth was in the both of them. But Killer Moth in Teen Titans looks nothing like how he did in the Batman. I'll have to here. I'm gonna show you. Ugh. Here, let me find it. Killer Moth. This is Killer Moth in Teen Titans. And this is Killer... Okay, let's go back. Go back. This is the one we see in the Batman. And this is the one we see in Teen Titans. They do look nothing alike. They look nothing alike. And this is the moth form Killer Moth took in the Batman. The moth forms look nothing alike. But they do sound quite alike, actually, which makes you wonder. Did Killer Moth mutate further to look like how he did in Teen Titans? Yes, he very well could have mutated further to the one we see in Teen Titans. But then this brings up another question. His child, his daughter. Her right there. She wasn't in the Batman. She was only in Teen Titans. Ken, she was never in the Batman. Now some of you could argue, but she was never a villain of Batman. True. I know that. I know she's not a villain of Batman. But because her father, Killer Moth, is one of Batman's villains, I might make a video on what if she was a Batman villain? Like, I think the idea of her being a villain of Batman is kind of interesting when I think about it because, like, you know, what would Batman do to her? Like, how would he handle someone like her? I'm gonna have to think about this one. I think the idea of her being a Batman villain is interesting. I think it's interesting. Like, her father, Killer Moth, is one of her villains, one of Batman's villains. So what if she was one of Batman's villains? And because Killer Moth in the Batman never mentioned he had a daughter, nor did he have a family, it makes one wonder, are these versions of Killer Moth even the same? That is a stretch as to whether they're the same character or not. In Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, a game I just hate so much because of how they killed off Batman. I can't stand how Batman died in the game. Amanda Waller mentioned that she wanted Killer Moth to join the Suicide Squad, which had some. But the question, didn't Killer Moth die in the tie-in comics? Yes, but the tie-in comics aren't usually considered canon, so either he could still be out there, or someone else became this Killer Moth the second, so maybe the one in Teen Titans could be Killer Moth the second. You very well could, you never know. But then again, there is no Killer Moth the second in the Arkhamverse released yet. If there is a Killer Moth the second in. Some elements from the tie-in comics are canon. The tie-in comics aren't usually considered canon because of many inconsistencies with the games. So I think Killer Moth, the one in Teen Titans being the one in the Batman, is a stretch. If they do the Killer Moth the second, like, you know, as Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League suggested, maybe Killer Moth in Teen Titans was Killer Moth the second. You just never know. But do I think they're in the same universe? I am now going to put down the final nail in the coffin. I find it plausible, despite some issues. I think it's plausible that the two shows are in the same universe. I know there are some other questions that would need to be brought up, like, why didn't the Titans fight Joker? He was never a villain of the Teen Titans at all, so that's why they never fought Joker, because he was never one of their villains. But maybe if Teen Titans did continue, this was true. Like a crossover shows, like the two shows crossing over at one point. Maybe they could have fought Joker, but I think Robin would be the one to recognize Joker because he knew Joker ever since the 4th season of the Batman, so he would recognize Joker. But Joker wouldn't even know who the others are. He never fought them in the Batman. He never fought them at all. So this would have been the first time fighting Joker. But then again, that's just me giving out an idea. Again, I think it's plausible that the two shows are somehow in the same universe despite some issues. I might do a video on what if they were. I've been considering that idea for some time now. So, yeah. I'll see you all later. And if you guys ask me, do I like both the two shows? Of course I like the Batman Teen Titans. I grew up with the Batman more because of nostalgia. I didn't watch Teen Titans when I was a kid. I grew up with the Batman more. I prefer the Batman more because of nostalgia. When I was a kid, I never got the idea, but now I do see it as plausible, despite the issues I mentioned. And be sure to... Do you think it's plausible, or do you think it's a bit of a stretch? Let me know in the comments down below. If you guys like this theory, then hit the like button if you like this theory. Anyways, bye.